boomers. If speaking kindly to plants helps them to grow, imagine what speaking kindly to humans can do, to children, to animals. That is a question of the day. Imagine a world where words are seeds, where kindness is the water, and where the way we speak to one another determines whether we flourish or wither. We already know that plants respond to kindness. In fact, there's a book called the Life of Plants, which kind of made people realize the truth of what we can do to enhance the growth of our plants in the house and our plants in the garden. But what about humans? What about the millions of people affected by policies that lack even the smallest measure of compassion, which we are seeing today? So today we explore this idea in the context of our current world, particularly in the aftermath of the recent elections, where immigration policy, for instance, there's many more, has been a flashpoint of division, cruelty, and suffering. Scientific studies show that plants exposed to words of encouragement grow stronger, while those subjected to negativity wither. The same is true for human beings and children. Research in psychology and neuroscience confirms that words of kindness activates regions of the brain associated with safety and trust, while words of cruelty trigger stress response, fear, and even physical illness. The thing is, when people say things like verbal abuse, we take those words into our heart, whether they mean these words or not. The fact that the words were spoken with an intention to hurt is very hurtful, to say the least. Now, if this is true on the individual level, what happens when entire communities, entire nations are bathed in either compassion or cruelty? Let's talk about the political landscape of today. The recent elections have exposed deep rifts in how we treat those seeking safety, community, and a better life. Instead of recognizing our shared humanity, which is always the best choice, policies have been shaped by fear, hostility, and dehumanization. Families have been separated. Asylum seekers have been treated like criminals, and rhetoric has hardened against the most vulnerable among us. And this is not just politics. This is about the moral fabric of our society. The way we speak about immigrants, refugees, people of color, women, and those who are different from us has real consequences. It shapes policies, influences how law enforcement treats individuals, and ultimately determines who is seen as worthy of dignity. This is certainly not new. History is filled with moments where societies justified cruelty by using language that dehumanized certain groups. When we call people, quote, illegals instead of immigrants, migrants, when we label entire populations as threats rather than families in need, we strip them of their humanity. And when language shifts in this way, actions follow. Policies become harsher. Compassion disappears, and society accepts cruelty as normal. But here's the thing. Just as words can destroy, they can also heal. Imagine if our policies were shaped by empathy instead of fear. Imagine if the leaders we elected spoke with kindness instead of aggression. Imagine if instead of seeing immigration as a crisis, we saw it as an opportunity to uplift, to include, and to grow together. We do see this happening. There are communities across the country opening their doors to newcomers, providing that kindness is not a weakness, it is a strength. So, where do we go from here? What can each of us do in our daily lives to shift this tide of cruelty? Well, we can change our own language, change our own tone of voice, speak with others with respect, and speak of others with respect and dignity, even when discussing complex issues. Words shape perception. We have to hold our leaders accountable. Vote for those who promote compassionate policies. Call out dehumanizing rhetoric whenever you hear it. Extend kindness locally. Support local refugee programs. Volunteer at shelters. Or simply reach out to someone who feels like an outsider. And educate ourselves, my heavens. Learn the real stories of immigrants, the challenges they face. What did they have to do to get here? And the systemic barriers they encounter. If speaking to plants helps them to grow, imagine what speaking kindly to humans can do. Our words and our actions are not just individual choices, they are part of a larger ecosystem of kindness or cruelty. Which do we choose? Reflect on this. Let me know what you think. We're about to get into pretty hard times here in America, and I personally choose kindness and also an ability to step aside with divine nonchalance. There's going to be a video that shows up right there. Please like and subscribe.